Hello and welcome. So as many of you may have noticed, the pathing system in O7 is quite terrible. Have you ever noticed that when you click multiple times towards a location, if you run around a corner, your character runs back and forth twice, losing a lot of energy? This problem was not fixed for quite a while, but because of this problem, it leads to easily accessible safe spots. Anywhere you go in Runescape for almost any boss depending on the room that they're in. But for most bosses, it's there. As long as there is a corner in the room, as long as it's a pillar and not a rock, you could safe spot the monster. Well, it's actually not as simple as that, but I'll go into explaining it more in depth as I go. But for now, I'll be just sticking to the Tazar area. First thing you want is a strong melee weapon. Which, by the way, this only works with melee. It does not work with range or mage because it's just how melee hits right away, whereas range and mage is a projectile that doesn't hit the target right away. So here I'm using a Rune 2H sword because I'm only 40 attack. It has the highest strength bonus that I have access to at this point. So it's as good as it's going to get for a while. Well, until I get either a granite maul or a dragon weapon. So once you have as good as a weapon you can get, find a monster, hit it, and I would suggest practicing this before you actually do it on any hard bosses. But once you have a good as a weapon as you can get, find a monster, hit it, and then find a corner. Note that an obstacle, like you have to move to like a corner where the obstacle is directly north or south of you. It will not work if the obstacle is like west or east of you. If this isn't working for you, if this part confuses you on how it works exactly, watch part 2, which I'll link in the description, where I explain more in depth about how this works. But besides that, for now, just kind of move how I move. Once your target has stopped moving and is unable to attack you, wait for his HP bar to disappear, wait 1 or 2 extra seconds, and make sure that your walk is on. Now this part is important because if your run is on, it will not work, so make sure your walk is on. And then attack your target. Then step back to where you were, wait for his HP bar to disappear, then repeat this till he's dead. The reason your target is unable to attack you is because every single monster, as well as players in the game, will flinch if they enter combat after being out of combat for about 5 to 6 seconds. And this is why getting the first hit in box taking is essential to winning. This is why monsters are unable to attack me right away. And this is why pretty much no monster in this game is a challenge when it's 1v1, unless you're fighting fairly. The downside of this is you lower your DPS because you're not constantly attacking your opponent, but you stay completely safe, so it's kind of like a trade-off. If you can't fight him one-on-one, then you can just save yourself some time and attack him normally. But if you need to conserve some supplies, for example in the fight caves, then this could come in handy. Like I said earlier, choose your strongest melee weapon with the highest strength bonus, and this, by the way, it works with special attacks. But since I'm only 40 attack, I cannot demonstrate this yet with dragon weapons. So, yeah. In the fight caves, the early waves are mostly melee monsters, so these are quite simple. Inside the caves, you want to go to the western wall. You need the monsters somewhere either on the east of the wall or north of it, so that they line up against the wall for you to flinch. Then do as I said earlier. Attack them, step back, wait for their HP bar to disappear, and repeat till they're dead. If they get a hit on you, wait for your HP bar to disappear, wait a few extra seconds, then go down the list. Now the reason I'm on the west wall and not on the eastern wall by Italy Rock, like Italy Rock is the one that looks like a boot with heels, is because the rock over there is a rock that can be ranged over, whereas on the western side, this is a pillar, actually it's a wall, but it's kind of the same thing, that cannot be ranged over. Because there are mages and rangers in the fight caves, you have to use the western wall to flinch the level 90 rangers, the 360 mages, as well as the level 702 Jad. And yes, it does work on Jad. I'll be demonstrating the 360s Jad probably in part 2 or part 3, depending on how long the video is. And once they're lined up as they should be, just flinch them as you would. Now here lies a second problem you'll have to deal with. If the wave has a ranger or mage in it, you have to position the monsters so that the range or mage is in front of you so that you can hit him first. If the range or mage is not in front of you, they'll be able to get an attack off on you each time you try to flinch one of the other monsters. So then to solve this, you just have to position it so that the range or mage is in front of you. And it could be kind of tricky, but once you know what to look for, it's easy to do. So in this example, well, actually, in this example, there are two rangers. One is kind of off map. You can't see him on the map, but he's ranging me from the far south, whereas there is a second ranger right in front of me. Unfortunately, there are two of them, so I have to pray range, attack the one in front of me, step back, turn my prayer off to conserve prayer, wait till his HP bar disappear, and repeat. I have to pray on this because I cannot hit the other monster in the back, I cannot flinch two monsters at the same time, and since both of them are range monsters, you just have to pray. Oh, which by the way, this method works both sides. It works on the south side, where I was earlier, as well as the north side, where I am now. The next scenario is this will only work if you're on the south. If there is a range and a melee monster in front of you, say like how it is here, the ranger is to the north, the melee monster is to the east of me. If the monster is like a 2x2 or larger, where this guy is a 2x2 because you can see that he takes up a 2x2 square, you could just step one step west of the normal spot and will attack him normally, and you can see by the video that it works here. Now the ranger is still to the northeast, and to get him so he comes to the east wall, run a couple steps south, run 2 steps east, then 2 steps west, and run back to the normal spot which I dropped the lobster on, which could be something you could do if you can't see the squares, because with all the lines on the floor it's kind of hard to see, so you can just drop a lobster so you know where the spot is. So again, this is not any kind of bug abuse, this is just how terrible the pathing system is in the game. Until they fix it, this will remain, at least this spot. This actually still exists in the main game, but there is a way to flinch monsters even after they fix the pathing system. The only way to fix flinching is if they remove how monsters react when they enter combat. The only way to fix flinching is if they remove it from the game. And, I mean, it's been like 11 years. They still haven't done it. So that kind of covers it for part 1. As a disclaimer, I must remind you this is not a bug. This is considerably slow, but it is 100% safe if you know how to do it. Since this is considerably slow, I usually watch something else, watch a movie, watch a video, watch somebody streaming while I do this, because you wait 5 seconds between hits. This will still be possible even if they fix the pathing system, and I'll link part 2 in the description when I'm finished with it, if you want to see more in-depth examples as well as explanations. So for now, thank you very much for watching, and have a nice day.